right? We're gonna get to Hotline, then we're gonna get to Sultry on the topic, ladies and gentlemen. So Hotline. Do you watch the video?
Yes, I did.
Okay. 1 second here. Do you so what do you think of the video? Was it a severe lack of emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, toxic femininity, or was it reactive abuse? What do you think?
Mm, okay. So as I was watching the video, and this is something that Will said, like when they were talking about it, that I kind of agree with, is that like we don't always know, because I've seen more often than not on both sides how easy it is for people to fabricate evidence just to dox people. Like I've seen
Uh
that
huh.
firsthand. So
Uh
it's
huh.
really hard for me to be like, oh yeah, like that woman is definitely like a victim in this situation, because
Uh,
from watching the video, I didn't feel like that. I kind of felt like that was a lot. There was a lot of just like seeing her bang her head against the floor. Like that's
yeah.
definitely not okay. And that's just
Yeah.
how I was seeing it. Like I do think that there are women who who use the situations that because there are women, and because studies have shown that men are more like domestically violent, that they can use that to their advantage to
Yeah.
garner sympathy and attention. And I don't ever agree with that, because then it makes it really hard whenever there is an actual situation for
Yeah.
those people to be believed.
Yeah.
So it's really not cool and it's not fair. And I do believe that, like, even when it happens to men, that men should also be getting the same amount of attention that any woman does, because just because it doesn't happen to men as often doesn't mean that it doesn't happen at all.
Wait. You said just because it doesn't happen to men. How do you know it doesn't happen to men as often? We
Statistics.
statistics. Okay. Let's talk about statistics. Do you think that again? I just asked Will, and you was in here. Let me ask
Hmm.
you. Do you think that men, especially in our community, do you think that they report the domestic violence and domestic abuse that they experience at the hands of their woman as nearly as
Hmm.
much as the women do?
Hmm.
You think that they do?
No, I don't think they do.
Okay, so if they don't, then how accurate are the statistics then?
But I want to ask you, why do you think that they don't do it?
Why
If
I
we're
Go ahead.
why do you think that they don't do it? why
Because
why do you believe men?
that's not a popular thing to do in our community. If you and I were dating and you were consistently like I was the one experiencing domestic violence in our relationship. You were physically abusive to me a lot. If
Right.
I call the police on you, whether, especially like I said, let us not have children. Let us not have a kid or children. If I call the police, if I call authority on my child's mother, if I call authority on my girl, especially in our community, you black woman and a lot of other black women are going to look at me as soft. You're going to look at me as weak. You're going to look at me like I'm the B word. That's the fact of the matter. I can't definitively say why it's like that, but that's the truth of the matter as to why it's like that. Do you agree or disagree with what I just said?
Like why it's like, okay, I disagree. I'm gonna say I disagree, because I believe that that ideology, like if we're gonna talk about this in full scale, right, like I want equality for both men and women. That means in men's community, that ideology, and in women's community, that ideology that men, as soon as they show their emotions, that they are weak, has to be taken down.
Okay. Oh, real quick. So you can acknowledge that that happens though.
Yes, it does happen.
Okay. So if you can acknowledge that that happens and you understand that, then why do you what do you not understand about why men don't call authority on women and stuff like that?
I'm saying that if the statistics are wrong because men are not reporting their things because they're looking weak, I'm asking how do we fix that? And I'm saying that to fix that, we have to have men who are going to put their pride aside, and women who have to put their pride aside to get that stuff reported. Because
I agree.
regardless of the situation, men are human beings. And if men's pride is above the fact that they have been abused, that doesn't make the situation right on either side. Men still have an obligation to themselves above their pride to report anything that happens. And that's what I hate the most, because I've seen on TikTok the amount of men who have gone through these horrendous things and then they report it, and then people are like, I didn't think it could ever happen. And that's what I hate. And it's because of that ideology.
It's not. I'm sorry, because it's not. It's I didn't think it could ever happen. It's you're a hoe for even coming on a public platform and saying that a woman did something to you. That's the facts of the matter.
So
Are
you're
you there?
saying that because so you're saying that because it's a fact that men are afraid to be that they're afraid to be weak, that there's no way that it could change, and that it has to be that way forever.
You asked me that they're afraid to be weak.
Yeah, I'm asking you that
But
because
why again? Why is the man? Why you talking into my point now? Why if I call the authority on you? Why am I looked at as weak? Why are you not looked at as weak when you call the authority on me?
that's a double standard, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so can I speak on this?
Go ahead, Fran. Go ahead.
What yeah, of course.
Sorry, I don't. Also, who's speaking?
Hotline,
I can't tell.
Bottom.
Okay, so I actually agree with Hotline to the extent that and I hate to use this word because I feel like it gets thrown around too much now. But the way like the patriarchy, and I hate saying that word because it's just like perceived wrong, but the way that it's been built historically for thousands of years is that women are weak and men are strong. And like we've seen, like if you just look at history itself, like men are so afraid of being seen as weak that like so many things have happened throughout history in general that like just show the utter fear and like the utter disregard to like even address the fact that they also have emotions and stuff. And like Harvard Business Review like did a whole article about like men being afraid to be seen as certain things, but that's just something that's been implemented into society throughout history. As you know, I'm half Black, and what I saw within the Black community, because my mom's Black, so like, and like I only really speak to my Black family, was that Black women are very protective of Black men. So I think that a lot of fear for women also comes from the fear that they will have men within their community perceived negatively as the rest of society may have seen them in history. So it's like a protective side from the women, and from the men they're trying to like protect themselves and what they think is making them valuable, which to them is perhaps like being seen as strong or protector, etc. So they don't want to be seen as being like overhauled by someone who's supposed to be weaker. At least that's what society has dictated. That said, yes, both men and women can be narcissistic, obviously. But what I think we're forgetting is that narcissistic abuse is often, and it can be physical, but more so than not, it is emotional, it is mental abuse. They literally convince you that you are the issue, you are causing the problem, and that you're the one to blame. So you're already blaming yourself and you're being blamed. And because they're so convincing, probably like their friends or like their family would believe whatever they say too, because like that's how their brain functions. Like they literally can convince almost anyone that you're the issue. And what I find with the problem about speaking about narcissistic abuse is like people don't recognize like the emotional damage it does to someone, and also the amount of therapy, man or woman, whoever the victim is of it, it is like insane, right? Like you have struggles like trusting people in general after that. What I saw in your video, I don't think was a response to narcissistic abuse. I think maybe something was happening. I mean, I don't know. I didn't go through their entire profile. But the fact that they mentioned their family makes it seem like maybe they knew something was underlying and they don't want to deal with it. I don't necessarily think that's about narcissistic abuse. That said, I don't think it was right to post necessarily. So that's where I'm kind of sitting right now.
Okay. Hey, Fran, mute up. I'm gonna finish with Hotline. Salty, do you have anything that you want to say to what Fran said before I get back to Hotline?
Oh no, I was just looking at the comments.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people are bringing up Johnny Depp.
Hotline. Is there any would there ever be any justification for that woman for behaving like how she was behaving in the video?
I can't say for sure because like I said, like at the very beginning of this, like we don't know what actually happened. Personally, from a personal perspective, I don't think it was appropriate because like you're banging your head against the floor and like
I'm sorry. You said when would that ever be an appropriate way to act to anything? Because what you said, I can't really say. You're basically saying that there could be justification for her to behave like that sometimes. So
There
is that what you're saying?
there could be. I'm saying, like, I can't say for sure what the situation is because, like I said, we're only seeing a clip. So it could be this abusive thing that this woman is doing, and maybe she's actually going through something right now. Personally, though, from a personal perspective, seeing that online was not appropriate.
I'm sorry, Hotline, whether it was online or offline. Can you agree if I say this? You and I cannot control everything that we can't control 100% of everything that happens to us in our life, right?
No. Or
But
yeah.
we can control how we react to it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is banging your head and throwing a temper tantrum as supposed to be an adult? There's 5-year-olds that throw temper tantrums and they don't act like that. And even for the 5-year-olds that do throw those temper tantrums, are you telling me that it's ever going to be that is a healthy way to respond to stuff that you're to anything that you're going through?
No, I never said it was I never said it was healthy. What I was saying is that I can't tell from the situation what is happening, but from a personal perspective, it is negative. I can't say that I can't say from an outsider's perspective with no evidence that what she is doing is right or wrong. I can't because I don't have enough evidence and that's not something I should be speaking on, but I'm saying from my perspective, it's just I don't think it's right.
I agree with you, but I'm not talking about the reason. I'm just talking about the action. The action is not right. It's never going to be right. So there's women in those comments that, like you said, how you're intelligent. You said I don't know anything about their relationship, so I can't definitively say anything about it. There's women in there that are saying that this is reactive abuse. The fact that he's recording is a red flag. The fact that he's being extremely calm while he's recording is a red flag. Um, what is to those women, Hotline? If it was a woman recording a man doing that, do you think those women that are saying those things would be questioning if, or be saying things like, "Oh, this is reactive abuse. Like she did something to provoke him, or she's abusing him, and that's why he's acting like that." Do you think those same women would say that?
Well, now I feel like we're like going in
No,
circles
yeah.
because of
Before
course
you
not.
elaborate, just yes or no. Yes or no. Before you elaborate.
I mean, no.
Okay, so why do you think that is?
Because there is a clear double standard.
Okay.
Like that, like if that's the point you're trying to prove, yes, I do agree that there's a double standard against men and women. What I'm asking is like how, like what I'm asking is from my perspective, with little evidence, whether it's a man or woman, what can we say is happening in that situation, regardless of if that was a man, or if that was a man, could we say for certain that that man is the victim or that
No.
he is the abuser? We can't.
No,
We
nobody
don't
can
have
say
enough
shit, and
evidence.
that's why I'm having this conversation to prove that. And if you actually go on that person's profile, they actually has video of him recording her while she's hitting him. He has a video of her threatening to like jump out of. She's acting like she's about to jump out of a window, and he's recording her, and she stops herself, and she's like, "You know what? You see, you don't care about me." But my thing, Hotline, is I've said this as a man. I don't know what's going on. Like that man could be a very abusive man outside of that recording. But I don't know their relationship, so I can't definitively say anything about it. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make. So nobody, you, me, Fran, Sultry, everyone in this chat, everyone that watched that video, you can't definitively say anything. What I can definitively say though, Hotline, is that the way she was acting is not appropriate and it's not ever going to be appropriate. That's what I can
No,
definitively
because
say.
yeah, no, because I don't ever agree to use your, and that's I believe that's a clear sign that you're in a toxic relationship personally, because it's like it's very common for another person to use their life over another person to get them to like stay with them and things like that, and I don't think that's okay. I don't think it's appropriate, but with minimal evidence we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and that's kind of the sad thing about TikTok, is that people don't take the time to think cognitively about the situation, and they just take whatever they can and run with it. That's what's so sucky about social media. You can say, dox anyone with minimal evidence. And then when evidence comes out that disproves what people have been saying, it's this crickets. It's silent. Like,
Yeah,
there's just nothing that we can say.
right. So before you leave, let me ask you just something unrelated because it kind of touches on this topic. Um, did did Tory Lanez shoot Megan Thee Stallion?
I don't know.
Why do you say that you don't know?
Because I don't engage in that type of like, I don't engage with like the drama. I'm a Megan fan personally. So I mean, a part of me wants to side, but I don't have all the evidence to say like, oh, like it did happen or it didn't happen. Like,
because you weren't there, right?
because I wasn't there, exactly. And
You
people can
weren't
say
there.
whatever they want.
You weren't there, so you can't say whether it happened or it didn't happen, right?
Right.
So exactly, and you're right about that. So, but when there's evidence now that there's no gun residue on this man, you know, the eyewitness said that the eyewitness that was there and saw it said that you know, the gun muzzle or the beam was closer to the friend than it was to Tory. And like I said, Tory don't got no gun residue on him. The evidence that's available right now, it's all inconclusive, so they can't say whether Tory did or didn't have anything to do with it. But Tory, can you say for the most part that Tory, the narrative is starting to change now, but could you say for a long time that the narrative was that he shot this woman by all these people that weren't there and don't know what happened?
So like, are you saying like,
can you agree that the narrative for a long time, and even by some people to this day, is that he shot her from people that were not there and don't know what happened?
yeah, I mean, that's how it works.
But that's not how it should work, right? That's not right, right?
It's not, and I 100% agree. That's my biggest issue with anything that ever happens on TikTok. It's the fact that someone can make a claim with zero evidence and get doxxed. I don't agree with that. I'm a person who says if there is evidence and there is proper evidence, not falsified, because that happens a lot, that if there's proper evidence and there's proper research that went into the topic that can prove or disprove otherwise, then let's wait for that instead of jumping to conclusions, because that never solves the problem. That just stokes the flame.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, Hotline, thank you for coming on, okay? I appreciate you.
No problem. Y'all have a good day.
Have a good night.
You too.
You